In this video, we're going to be ranking all the attackers in R6. First, we have Ace, and Ace is an amazing operator. He's got the AK-12, he's got hard breach. I mean, it's literally as simple as that. AK-12, hard breach. You can get frags with a hard breach operator. And the ability to throw it is nice in a lot of circumstances. Like, for example, like on Oregon, when you're attacking the closet, master bedroom, you don't even have to fully enter into it. You can stay on the balcony and throw it. It makes it really strong for situations like that. Now, it's not the best every time. Sometimes you want a thermite hole because you have a lot better line of sight. Another benefit with Ace is it makes it a lot harder for the enemy to bandit trick because you can throw it on both panels. That makes it quite difficult. Usually they can only get one. AK-12 is arguably one of the best guns in the entire game, so that's going to put him S tier. He's just dominant. He is a team operator who has one of the best guns in the game. That almost never happens. Usually you're making that trade-off. That's what makes him so great. So he's going to go into S tier. Next we have Amaru, and Amaru is terrible. I mean, when is this actually good? I mean, sometimes you can do something cool where you like plant and then go up a hatch and watch it from the roof or something, like on like Cafe. But how often does that ever really happen? You have to push sight, and you don't have an ability to actually help your team take sight, but you have to take sight. Then get the plant down, and then just zip back up. I just, like, not very good. Doesn't happen very often. And then every other time, you're just praying. You're gonna go through a window, and you're just hoping no one catches you, and you can get a couple picks. Like, it's just the worst operator for team comp. Everyone hates when, like, the 0-3 guy goes Amaru. On match point round 4, right, or something like that. Like, it's just terrible. So for sure F tier, awful operator. Next we have Ash, and Ash is actually in a really good place right now. Obviously you have R4C ACOG, which is going to be really good, and especially OG players are going to really love that. And with the buff to her breaching round last season, where you can also destroy mirrors with it from distance, it's actually pretty good. She kind of has an advantage over other operators that are similar to her for that reason. And she has a really good gun with an ACOG. Like, she's really good. She's great. So 3 speed, R4C ACOG, solid gadget, definitely A tier. Now we have Buck, and Buck is, and I mean this, the best operator in the game. He's the most utility, he's the most flexible, he can literally do just about anything. So he has a soft breach gadget, but not only does he have a soft breach with the skeleton key, it's the best. You can go above or below, you can open any soft walls, any hatches super easy, and you can use it as a close range threat. You have a shotgun, and so not many operators can go below, especially with you being unable to cook nades. It's even better. So now you can just use Buck, go below, clear out people from, you know, certain corners, like really default spots. Like you can go on like border, right, in the armory objective. You can get people off half wall or sandwich or anything like that. So he's just so strong in that regard. And then he has a secondary hard breach gadget. So then you can get reinforced hatches. You can make, you know, maybe you're pushing dirt on Clubhouse, like something like that, where he's just unbelievably strong. So he is going to be S tier, and he is going to be above Ace, and no one will top him for the rest of this video. He is that good. Now we have Blackbeard. Blackbeard sucks. I mean, I think he's gonna die because they don't know how to rework him, so they're just gonna kill him off for the story. His shield is terrible. I mean, every once in a while it can save your life, so that's kind of the only saving grace. Is in a very rare circumstance can it save you. Basically, in the situations where you would have traded, you'll win. And how often do you trade? I mean, sure, decently, but maybe once a day, maybe. And then you have to be playing Blackbeard when that happens, and he's just not good. And then he contributes nothing to the team. And I hate the Scar. That gun sucks. It has like 21 rounds, does basically barely any damage, terrible fire rate. Like, it's just awful. And so I don't know why you'd ever play him. I'm gonna put him just above Amaru just for those couple special situations. And sometimes playing him on a window can be kind of nice. And we're in a TDM meta, so it kind of makes a little more sense to play him. But he's pretty terrible. And he has EMPs, so at least he can do something for the team. So that's why he goes just above Amaru, but it's nothing special. I mean, it's F tier for a reason, right? So terrible. Next we have Blitz, and Blitz is in an interesting place right now. All shields received an update with this new season. The big thing is that all shields, Fuse and Monty and Blitz, now can sprint with their shield in front of them, which I think was one of his biggest advantages, why I liked playing him as a shield operator, because you can get aggressive with him. And then you have the flash ability, so it kind of like tied in together with that. But now every shield can do it. So I think that like inadvertently affected him, like kind of nerfed him in that regard, where he's just not the only one who can do that now. So I think he's going to kind of end up just where he's always been. If you're amazing with Blitz, like we've all played some Blitz with just like menaces who just own, then great. but I don't think many players are like that because I don't think many players are like that because I don't think he's that easy of an operator to understand and play and learn. So I think I'm going to put him into C tier. Not terrible, but not my favorite shield, not my favorite operator. Next we have Brava. Brava has a really good gun, and her gadget's not on the surface terrible, but when you get into how situational it is and how often it actually helps the team, it's pretty rare to be good. So first you have to have the defenders pick gadgets that you can actually steal. Yeah, they have to play Maestro, they have to play Val, and then it has to be in a location where it actually is going to help your team if you take it, right? Like if they put a Maestro cam 90 Hall on Villa, like sure it's a nice cam to have, but if no one's playing 90, you're not really going to do anything with it. Like you're not going to be zapping any players, you're not going to be taking out any utility. Now they just don't have it, which is cool, I guess. And then like stealing Capcan traps or something, like they have to be in a place where the defenders are going to be running through again, like later on, which most Capcans will go and place it on the other side of the map, right? Like kind of like if you're top floor Villa, they're going to go place it towards Trophy, towards Statue when you're playing the Aviator site. And how often are defenders going to be running through those after you hack them? It's very rare. And so I just find her very situational, but sometimes it can be helpful. So I never go into a round picking her, but if I see an opportunity to exploit the defense and their setup by picking her, then I'll switch to her, if that makes sense. So she's not terrible, but I don't think she's that great. I mean, it's nice having the para, but I'm going to put her into D tier. Next we have Capital. I mean, I just said how much I like the para. It's a great gun. It really is, except his gadget's kind of eh. The firebolts are not terrible, but it doesn't really do much that a grenade wouldn't do by moving someone out of a corner. I like it for a post plan, I guess, but you have to get into that situation, and I don't know how much he's helping you get in that situation. I know he does have his smoke bolts, which is nice that they like go instantly, like the smoke appears instantly, but I have a hard time picking that when I could just have someone's secondary gadget do a very similar thing. Like why would I play Capital for smokes when I could play Twitch for smokes and have a drone and take out a bunch of utility? Like it's multifunctional, and then it's just a secondary gadget to do what he's trying to do completely. So I don't need him when I have all these operator with smokes, you know, Thermite, whoever. Like Thermite can open the main breach and has smoke grenades. Capital, he just has smokes. I know he has secondary, but like I don't find it to be that great. So while I like the para, I just don't find his gadget to be that useful, to be that strong in a team push. So he's also going to go D tier. Do I like him more or less than Brava? You also can't do like the one bullet through the floor thing like you used to be able to and shoot the cross bolt through there. So it's kind of I'm gonna go right there for now. Maybe he could be adjusted within that D tier range, but he's D tier. I just don't think he's that great. Next up we have Dokubi, and Dokubi is in a really strong place. She's banned very often for a reason. The Doki calls are super annoying when you're in defense, and they really hurt any roamer. And the plus of her over someone like Jackal is it does it to all of the defenders at once, right? So like Jackal might have an active ping, which is a little stronger than just hearing an audio cue, but it does it to everyone. And so when you're making a push and you make that Doki call, you know, somewhat early, it can really help take a large part of the map quickly, save you a bunch of time. Instead of just having to like drone every single corner and things like that, you can just hear if anyone's in that room. She has a DMR, which is always going to be worse than an auto, but with that, it's a really good DMR. I mean, it doesn't bounce around very much when you're shooting it. It does really good damage, and you can shoot it decently fast. So I don't really have a problem with running that. Yeah, like yes, is an AK-12 going to be better, or is even a para going to be better? Sure, but it's really good. It's definitely not putting you at that much of a disadvantage. So if you're pretty decent at hitting your shots, especially maybe if you struggle hitting headshots, you can hit body shots and take people out so quick with the DMR. So her having EMPs as well, and then and you got secondary machine pistols, whichever one you prefer. I'm a CZ guy, which is kind of rare, but they're good. So like you have a secondary auto as well for really close range. So I just think she's really strong. She's in a really good place right now. Doki calls are amazing, and she has EMPs. Sounds like a good operator to me, right? So I'm gonna put her into S tier. So she's gonna go just below the other two. I don't think she's as strong as them, but I think she is really good. Next we have Finka, and I don't love playing Finka because I don't like her AR, but LMGs are back, right? We can finally play LMGs again. So you can go ahead and play the LMG on her instead. And that's what I'm gonna do when I play her, and I would blame you for doing the same. And she's a really high win rate if you look at the siege stats that they do for a reason. Having an operator that helps every single person on your attacking team at once is really strong. You can pick up downed teammates, and you can give people health on attack, which she's the only one who can do that. So it's very strong in that regard. It lowers recoil. You can do some cool things like Fenrir's. It makes the Fenrir smoke. You can see further when you're in Fenrir smoke. So it can really help your teammates in a large number of ways. And that's why her win rate is so good. So she's going to go into B tier for me. I like her a lot, but I don't like love her. She's not doing like one thing that just like wins you the round. She helps everyone out a little bit, which helps you win the round. But she doesn't just like Thermite main wall, which can win you the round, something like that. So that's why she's not higher, but she's really good. One of the best flex picks you can have on attacking. Like if you don't necessarily need anything, Finka will always be good. She's gonna go into B tier for me. Next is Flores, and I like Flores. His gun's decent. His gadget's pretty good. I like having the extra drones. Obviously you can get a little bit extra intel, but really what you're trying to do with them is destroy any defender gadgets or any defender utilities. So you're trying to take out shields, you're trying to take out Kiba barriers, things like that. So he can be really good at that, especially on certain sites where they're going to bring a bunch of stuff like that. He can be really strong. I like him in that regard. Do I think is he ever like a must pick? Not really, but he can be good. So I think that's going to put him into B tier, but definitely below Finka for me. But he's solid. So then we have Fuse, and Fuse is kind of tough. Obviously he's a 1 speed, so that kind of hurts him a little bit. And then he has an AK-12, which is really, really good, but his gadget is kind of hit or miss. Especially in higher ranks, you're not really going to get kills with it very often. What you have to do is like work with a teammate. So teammates may be holding an angle on a window, and then you use the Fuse charge to push them out of the corner, running in front of the window, and then your teammate can shoot them. So like that's a way to get kills with it. Or you can just use it to clear utility, which is pretty good at that. So, but it takes a really long time to first you have to clear the entire upstairs, right? You have to make sure that's all clear and then get your Fuse charges down. And while you're placing them, you're quite vulnerable. So someone can just come up and flank you, and it's pretty loud placing it and hearing the explosions. And so people can flank you quite easily. He's okay. I don't love him though. So he's going to go into C tier. He's got an AK-12 and he is really good at clearing utility, but you have to get into a position where you can actually do those things. And then being a 1 speed and having to play all the way upstairs for the majority of the round and then rush downstairs at the end is always kind of when you're so slow. Like I just am not a fan. So he's gonna go into C tier. He might drop, but for now we're gonna put him there. Next we got Glaz. I have a soft spot in my heart for Glaz. I kind of like him, but he's objectively not that great. I like the thermal scope, and his sniper's okay. At least it's a semi-auto sniper, which we'll get into that later, but he doesn't bring anything to the team that's necessarily great. He can really help get a plant down because you can smoke and cover through the smoke, which he's, the only one who can really do that. So that's nice, but other than that, it's not that great. I like playing him on some sites where you kind of have long range and defenders tend to peek you. So like kitchen service on coastline, I'll play him because people will peek me on that service store every time and they'll lose almost every time. So that's where Glass has a really significant advantage, and that's where I really like him. But other than that, he's just not that great. I mean, having a sniper is never going to be that amazing in Siege because it's a one-shot headshot game, so you're just trying to put as many bullets downfield as you can, trying to get that headshot. He's going to go into D tier for me. I don't hate him, that's why he's not going into F tier, but he's just not that great. He's not contributing that much to your team, so he's going to go into D tier. Next we have Grim, and Grim is actually in a lot better place than he used to be. I mean, he used to be one of the worst operators in the game, but he's definitely better now. He has the bailiff and secondary hard breach, so that kind of gives him kind of like a good bit of utility in that regard, kind of like a off-brand great value buck, right? But he has the bees, which are quite good. I like how the bees function themselves. You can really push people out of corners or see if anyone pushes up on you or things like that. But I hate having to use like the pest launcher. Anytime you have to put away your gun to take out some kind of launcher or something like that, you're going to be at a disadvantage. And you have it out for so long. Like when you take Ashes or launcher and you just send the breaching round and then you just put it away immediately. But with Grim, you're kind of, maybe you're switching in between whether it can go off instantly or whether you're bouncing it, which is a nice feature, but takes time. Or maybe you're, and then you're launching multiple a lot of the time at once, not just one. And then putting it away is quite slow as well. So I don't love doing that. I wish it was like an underbarrel, something like Buck has, where the skeleton key is an attachment to the gun and you can swap between very quickly. That'd make him a lot better, but he's still pretty good and he brings quite a bit of utility. So I like him. He's going to go into B tier and I'm going to put him just above Flores. So, and you have a commando. I didn't even bring up the commando. I love that gun. So that's a big plus. So He's gonna go into B tier. Next we have Iana, and Iana kind of used to be the go-to entry frag, but with the return of Ashe and things like that, she just isn't anymore. Nades aren't as strong, so that's another thing that's just hurting, and the G36 is like, it's pretty good. Like, it doesn't have a lot of recoil, but there's nothing super flashy about it. Nothing like an R4C or a C8 on Buck where you're just gonna shred people. That's not really how the G36 works. So I like having the extra intel, but it takes quite a bit of time to use her clones, which is totally fine. An extra droning and extra intel is, I mean, it can win you the round, so she's not terrible by any means, but again, her primary gadget is a drone, basically, which every single operator has 2 of them, so as long as you're using them properly and not just losing them at the start of every round, you won't really need much more than 2. So to have so many isn't that strong. And if you really want more drones, play someone like Twitch who actually can, you know, take out utility or something with hers, and then you have 4. So like, I just think there's people who do what she does better in Twitch, having all those drones for all that intel and then being able to actually destroy stuff. Or there's people who can kind of do what she does with just 2 normal drones and then have everything else at their disposal and then be Buck and have everything else. So she's gonna go into, I'm gonna say D tier. We'll put her at just below Brava, but just above Capitao. I just am not the biggest fan. So next we have IQ, and while I really like the Commando and I like being a 3-speed and she's a great entry frag op in that regard, gadgets suck. Like, it pretty much never helps. Like, yes, sometimes you can go below and clear out utility or something like that. You can get the bandits off the wall. But guess what? If you know where the wall is, you can get the bandits off anyway because they have to be attached to the wall. It's not that hard to figure out. It could be helpful for some tricky Cades or like tricky Velcams that are hidden quite well. But other than that, it's just not good. I mean, the Commando and being a 3-speed is her saving grace, but only being helpful against like Valcade and maybe Pulse if you can do something cool, then it's just not good. So she's gonna go into D tier. Yeah, probably right about there. I like her. I understand why people play her, but her gadget still sucks. So it's gonna go into D tier. Next we have Callie. You have a bolt action sniper. That's terrible. I mean, the scope is way too zoomed in, and a sniper is just never going to be good in Siege. Everyone knows that. You can't like quick scope with it. You can't hip fire with it. Yes, you have a machine pistol secondary, but when you're an attacker and you can have a machine pistol as like using as your main auto, or you can have an R4C with an ACOG, like I don't know. The only thing that's saving her is her gadget is actually good. Like, it can actually be quite helpful at clearing utility, and you can get like bandits through walls and stuff like that. So if her gadget wasn't actually good, then she would be awful, but her gadget is good. So she's gonna go just above Glass, just barely, because her gun is much worse than his. But you do have a machine pistol. Well, so does Glass. He is wearing 9. Her gadget is so much better. So that's what's gonna give her just the tiniest edge, but I don't like her. I don't. And I think just playing EMPs or something like that is just gonna be, you know what? No. I want to put her lower, but I also don't want to because I know her gadget's actually good. Fine, she can stay where she is, but I don't like her. I wouldn't play her. If you just don't really play her unless you really need to. Like, she could be okay on the clubhouse, right, when you get the breach open, because you can play a long range and help get wall, but there's so many better options, so just play those instead. Next we have a Lion. I don't love Lion's gun. It's shoots kind of slow. It doesn't do enough damage to kind of make up for that, but it has a large mag, so that's kind of nice. And his gadget's like solid. It's good to mix with other ones. Like, it's good to mix with a Jackal, or good to mix with a Dokkaebi or Deimos or something like that. But it's not really like super great in its own right because you can avoid it like scanning you quite easily. I think that's gonna put him into C tier for me, but more probably around there. He's fine. You can use a 417 on him too. That's a good DMR. So he's just kind of whatever. He's just kind of in that. Someone's playing a Lion, it's just like, I don't really care. Like, okay, he's gonna go into C tier. Next we have Maverick. And Maverick is a very different kind of hard breach, but he has very limited counters. Basically, the only counter is to shoot him while he's using his thing. So, which you can do pretty easily, but especially if you're Maverick who knows what they're doing and you can like Maverick trick or avoid being shot or things like that, it can be really strong. And it's really nice on a like Oregon stairs site where you can go for attic wall and you can just do it all by yourself. You don't need anyone to get the bandit off the wall, the Cade off the wall, nothing like that. You can just open it yourself, slip in, and get some pretty easy picks, especially if they're not paying attention. So, and then you have an M4. by the way, which is one of the best guns in the entire game. So he's going to go into A tier. I'm going to put him just above Ash just because I find his utility to be stronger than hers. He's just a great operator. Play Maverick. He's never going to be bad. And then you can even use him for just some sneaky stuff. Like I like him on like theme park. If you go for yellow wall, no one like sitting by the throne when you open yellow wall is going to hear you or even know that you did it. So you get so many free kills just by doing that. There's just little things you can do like that with him that are so good. Or pushing like dirt tunnel on Clubhouse. He's great for that. So I just like him because he can be kind of a solo in that regard where he doesn't need anyone to help him get stuff off wall or anything like that. So he's going to go into A tier. Next we have Monty, and Monty I think is who has experienced the largest buff with the shield rework. Being able to actually not be like such a zero when it comes to fighting. I mean, I know you could get kills with him before, but you're using a pistol with a shield over like an AR. Like you're going to be at an extreme disadvantage, but he's very good at getting intel, pushing with your team, and getting plant down. So I love him for all those reasons. That's why I like to play Monty. But with the new shield update and him being able to sprint at people doesn't make him like a complete zero when it comes to fighting. So I like him a lot in that regard in that update, and being able to free look is really strong, especially as he's one of the main kind of intel gathering operators that can really help on your team's push. Like I love him for that. So he's much stronger. He's definitely improved to where he was before. So I'm going to put him, gosh, he's really good right now. But you have to know how to play him. We're leaning between A and B. We're going to put him at the very top of B tier, I think. I really like him. I think the only thing holding him back is like you have to really understand your role and know how to play him to be any good with him and really be working with your team. Like if you're solo queuing, you probably shouldn't be playing Monty, right? That's why he's going to go into B tier, but he is really good. And like I guess he's got a really high ceiling and a really low floor. So like he can end up doing nothing for your team, or he can be the one really helping your team push, get the plant down, things like that. So he's going to go into B tier. Next we have Nock. Why would you ever play her? She has a defender's SMG on attack. When you have all these great ARs, why would you want hers? She is an operator who goes for kills. That is her role. Why would you put yourself at that disadvantage? And the only thing her gadget does is make it so you can't be seen by cameras. When there's a million proximity-based gadgets in the game that she can activate, even when she's using her gadget, it just makes it pointless for the most part. So no more silent step made her just, why would you want to play her? And grenades aren't even that good anymore. She's gonna go into F tier. She could get a rework where proximity based gadgets don't activate when she has her gadget activated. That'd be great, Ubisoft, but they haven't done that yet. It's been a really long time. I don't know if they're gonna. She's gonna go into F tier. Then we have Osa. This might be kind of my hot take of the video, but I don't like Osa. I don't find her to be that good. So many people use her shield as if it's an actual shield that you can hold in front of you and defend yourself. It's tiny when you're holding it in front of you. You have to be completely straight on for them to not be able to just super easily kill you. Like I just don't like it in that regard, so never do that. And then most of the time when you have it on a doorway or a window, it's really easy to just impact or nitro and either kill you or destroy your shield, and then you're left super defenseless. So I don't like it for that either. The only thing I really like her for is pushing main breach, especially if Thatcher's banned, because she has EMPs and then she can place her shield further back on the breach, and it makes it really hard for people to nitro or impact her because they have to peek the breach to do that, and she can kill them pretty much every time. So I like her for getting breach, and that is it. Like there really isn't much more than that. So that's gonna put her into, I think, C tier for me. I'm gonna put her just above Blitz, I think. Next we have Gridlock, and obviously her role is flank watch, and I don't think she's the best operator at that. I think there's someone who's better at that than she is. I like her guns a lot, and the gridlocks aren't bad, especially if you get like plant down and you can cover the entire room in gridlocks. It's really strong, but you have to be in that situation first, and she's not doing a ton to help you get there. I think she has secondary EMPs, so that can help. And grenades aren't as good as they used to be, so that also hurts. So I think she's fine, kind of whatever. So she's gonna go into C tier, but probably just above Osa, because she can be kind of a more all-around operator, especially having a secondary shotgun and EMPs as well, just like Osa does. She can be better in more situations than Osa can, so that's why I should go just above her, but still in C tier, nothing too special there. Then we have Hibana, and Hibana is amazing. I mean, her gun is ridiculously strong. Really good fire rate, really good damage. Obviously you have a bit smaller mag size, but it's not like a Blackbeard situation where you have a tiny mag size and everything else sucks about it too. Everything else is amazing, and then you have a small mag, so like they have to hurt it a little bit somehow, right? So It's really strong. And then her gadget's amazing. It's a hard breach. Any hard breach is great. Obviously, she kind of fits a certain role of getting hatches for the most part is her job, but she is the best at that. She can get 4 reinforced hatches. So on bank, on clubhouse, maps like that, where there's, 3 or 4 reinforced hatches, you don't have to bring multiple operators with secondary hard breach or, thermite and someone with secondary hard breach, something like that. So she is just very strong and she's really good at what she does and has a good gun. She's going to go into A tier. And I'm going to put her just above Ash, just because it's a hard breach and her gadget's just better than Ash's, but her gun might be just the slightest bit worse because of the make size than Ash is our first piece. So give and take there. So she's going to go just above Ash barely. And then we have Jackal, and Jackal is banned for a reason. I find him to be really strong. Obviously, he's kind of annoying. I wish he worked a little bit differently than just like seeing a footprint, scanning it, and then knowing exactly where you are. But it's really good. He's amazing for roam clearing. He's got a good gun. I like his AR a lot. He has a secondary shotgun, so that's good. And he's got smoke grenades. Sounds good to me. So he's gonna go into A tier for me. He's gonna go just below Ash, just because I think Ash is a little bit stronger in her role than Jackal is. Other people can kind of do what Jackal does, like Dokkaebi, like Deimos, or just good droning. But how easy Jackal makes it and how much Jackal can screw over a roamer. Like you can drone out a roamer and then the roamer can move, right? And then you have to re-drone and clear and eventually kill him or drone your teammate in to get the kill. Jackal can just completely ruin a roamer's roam. Like it's just over in a lot of cases. So he's gonna go into A tier for that reason. Then we have Nomad. When I was speaking of the flank watch operator who is better than Gridlock, this is who I was thinking of. I like the air jobs a lot more than I like the Gridlocks for flank watch because you never know exactly how Gridlocks are going to disperse. So sometimes it can be pretty easy to just knife 2 of them and kind of slip through or something like that. An air job is really obvious when that goes off and kind of difficult to deal with. Sometimes you can kind of get like a weird like lean peek through a doorway to shoot it above you. So you have to make sure you know how you're placing it and being smart with that. Even when they do something like that, you hear a gunshot or you hear an impact nade or something like that, and that should be able to tell you as well that someone is on your flank. So, and then when someone gets air jabbed, I mean, they're at the most vulnerable state you can basically be in. You get flung, you don't have your gun out, and you have no control over your character. So she's really good in that regard. So she's gonna go into definitely upper B tier. I think I'm gonna put her just above Finka. Yeah, I feel like that's about right. She's really good, and I like her guns. The RX and the AK are both very good. So upper B tier for Nomad. Then we have Ying. Ying's in a really strong place right now. This is going to be kind of contradicting what I say, but I know other operators have flashbangs, but a Candela is leaps and bounds better than flashbangs. So I usually don't like when operators' primary gadget is just like a better secondary gadget, like Capitao, where his smoke bolt is just like a slightly better smoke grenade. The reason I think it's different for Ying is it is so much better than a flashbang. Like flashbangs can be really inconsistent, things like that, but a Candela it blinds the whole room, right? So I can make pushing so much easier, and especially in just some kind of like 1v1 gunfight when you're pushing in, you can net that person absolute zero. I mean, they are literally blind. They cannot see you. And you have a solid gun. I don't love her gun, her LMG, but it's an LMG that you can reload quite fast. It just shoots kind of slow, and I feel like the damage just isn't enough to make the slow fire rate or the slower fire rate worth it. But her gadget's really good. I mean, and I think you've got really great secondary gadgets with smokes, hard breaches, things like that. So she's going to go into A tier. I'm going to put her just below Jackal, but she can be a huge difference maker when you're pushing, and especially if you're just in like a 1v1 gunfight, it can be literally a game changer, getting that kill or completely moving them from the spot they're sitting in, things like that. So definitely gonna go into A tier. Next we have Deimos. Deimos is the new operator that came out with this season, and I think he's kind of whatever. I think he's really fun. I like his gadget and kind of like how it works and the idea of it. But I think he doesn't do his job that great. Like Jackal's better than him because yes, he gets an active ping on the roamer or defender, but you have to be able to scan them first, which I guess can be an advantage or disadvantage. Jackal, you have to see footprints for the operator, so it's kind of like I would say they're kind of even in that regard, but Deimos gets pinged as well for the defender. And then Jackal, when he pings someone, it pings him for the entire team. Deimos has to communicate that to his team. So I like those aspects of Deimos. I like that he's a team-based operator. Like really what needs to happen is Jackal just needs to be nerfed or reworked in some kind of way. Like I like how Deimos works, but he's just not that strong. And then when you do use his ability, you have to use his pistol instead of an auto, so it makes it a little bit difficult to go through the floor sometimes, not being able to just spray as they're running around. But it could be, you can definitely use it it's definitely good, especially if you pair it up with some of those other ones. If you pair it up with a Jackal or a Doki or a Lion, things like that, it can be quite strong, but I don't love him. So he's just going to go into the very top of C tier for me. Good, not great, middle of the road. Play him, don't play him, doesn't really matter. He's going to go into C tier. Next we have Sense. And I want to like Sense, but I don't. They are just not that good. The smokes aren't that much stronger than people's secondary smoke nades. I mean, they definitely are better, and I think Sense has potential, but the fact that the defenders aren't penalized in any way for shooting through it or passing through the Sense walls, I think is really where he's missing something. I like their gun a lot, and I think they can be a decent team operator in some regard, but I think you would rather just play some other things like a thermite and have those smoke grenades. So while I like them, I see the potential there for like a slight buff and rework. Like I could really see like a Grim situation where they go from being one of the worst operators to being pretty solid with just a couple of changes. Those changes haven't happened yet. So they're going to go into D tier for me, and I think they're going to go towards the bottom. I don't hate them as much as some of these other operators because those operators don't help the team in any way, and they can at least contribute to the team with the Sense walls. So gonna go into lower D tier. Then we have Sledge, and Sledge is a tough one because Sledge isn't worse in any way. Nothing's happened to Sledge to make him worse. Just other operators have come in that do what he does better. With how strong Buck is right now, Sledge is just a obsolete kind of vertical player, especially with Ram. Ram is so much better at going above than Sledge is. It's so much faster, it's less deadly. Like when you're Sledge and he smacked the floor, how easy is it as a defender to nitro a Sledge, especially because you're not the fastest operator either. Like, but Ram, even though she's not fast, you don't really know where she's standing. She can literally throw her ability and be outside, throw it through a window, and still get the floor. So like, you're not going to be able to nitro her as easily as you are a Sledge. While I like Sledge, the L8 isn't as good as an R4C or a C8, and his soft breach ability isn't as good as Buck or Ram. So that's kind of why like he's not worse necessarily. It's just everything around him is so much better. So that's going to put him into C tier. Probably around there. He's not a bad operator though. Like you're not like wrong for picking him or anything. It's just there's people who are better at what he does than him. So play them instead. Then we have Thatcher. Thatcher's pretty simple. I mean, we know what he does. He EMPs walls. People have secondary EMPs now, so that makes him like slightly worse, but they don't do it nearly as good as he does. There's a reason he still gets banned. I don't think he needs to be banned as often as he does, especially on a map where it doesn't make sense. Like why are people banning Thatcher on like Coastline? I couldn't tell you, but he's the best at what he does. So that's going to put him into probably the very top of B tier. He's really good. But other people can do what he does. Twitch can, you can go above or below or use EMPs. So there's ways around it, but I understand why people really like him. And his guns they're all right. He's got the L8 and the AR-33, so they're fine. He's a solid operator. Can't really go wrong. Upper B tier. Then we got Thermite. And Thermite is another hard breach, and any hard breach is going to be pretty decent. His hard breach is the biggest, so that's really nice to have those lines of sight. And I really like some of the tricks you can do with like soft walls next to hard breaches. You can get hatches that are cated, like consulate. You can place it on the wall above the hatch, even if it's cated, and they'll still blow it up because the blast radius is so huge. So especially when you learn those tricks, it can be quite solid. His gun is middle of the road, so it's not like putting you at an advantage like a AK-12 is, but it's definitely not putting you at a disadvantage like, I don't know, Nox SMG is or something stupid. So he's really good. He's gonna go into A tier. I'm gonna put him just above Ash. I'm gonna put him just above Ying, just because there's so many hard breaches, so he's not necessarily like the only person who does what he does. So in some situations, other operators are better. Sometimes Ace is better, sometimes Maverick's better, sometimes Habana's better, but sometimes he's better, right? So that's what keeps him into A tier, but he just has the worst gun out of the 4 hard breaches, so gonna go a little bit lower for that reason. Then we have Twitch. Twitch's F2 is not what it once was. It used to be like the best gun of the game, but now that it doesn't have a grip, the recoil can be kind of bad and it's hard to control at any kind of range, but the majority of gunfights take place pretty close range, so it's not too terrible. I like her gadget. I like that she has all of those drones, that she has 4. She has her 2 normal ones and then her gadget, her ability, so I like that, and she can be pretty good at dealing with utility, especially if like a Thatcher's banned, I'll play Twitch, so I like her, don't love her. So she's gonna go into B tier, probably just below Grim, but she's solid, good operator. Then we have Ram. I mean, the best above vertical play in the entire game, like even better than Buck. So you can just open so much so quickly. and she's so loud at doing it that it really disorients the defenders. And then you have an R4C with an ACOG, so it's not like she's lacking in the gun department at all. And a secondary shotgun, kind of got it all in that regard. So she's really good. The best are going above, so she's going to go into A tier. I'm going to put her just above Ying, I think. I like her a lot. I know she's slow, but it's worth it. She's the best at what she does, and vertical is a really important aspect of the game. So it's a really good thing to be the best at what you do, but it's a really important part of the game. Next we have Zero. I love Zero's gun, but his gadget is kind of, I mean, I feel like kind of a broken record here, but everyone has drones, so you don't necessarily need the cameras to be the cameras aren't super helpful when every single operator has 2 cameras themselves, and then they have a primary gadget. So, and then you have to have people watch the cameras, especially if you're alive as Zero, like you have to have someone watch them for you to be that big of a help. Sometimes that's nice because he has like secondary hard breach, so you can, like, I've done it before on like Border. They are like workshop site. You can go and you can shoot your Zero cam through the drone hole and then get the stuff off the wall if you're pushing like bathroom, and open that wall yourself with the hard breach. But like that's a lot of steps, but it's nice that he can do it himself, so that's a pretty big plus. And he's an amazing gun, and the cameras are never like bad. It's just you have to be in a position to put them in a good spot that's going to help you, and that's kind of rare. And then you have to put away your gun to do it, all of those kind of things. So he's good, not great. I'm going to put him into C tier. His gun's kind of carrying here, but he's gonna go just above Sledge. No, probably just above Deimos, but his gun's kind of carrying. I'm not lying about that, and having hard reach. So gonna go upper C tier. I love Sophia, and I don't love Sophia. I think her gun is good, but I feel like people like think of it on the same tier as like an R4C or an AK-12, and it is, or C8 or something like that. It's not. Like it shoots slower, it has more recoil, so it's not as good as us. It's good, but it's not nearly as good. She's really slow, and I like Ash's breaching around more than I like Sophia's launcher. I know you have the concussion grenades, which can be helpful, but you only have 2 of them, and I find her breaches to be a little worse than Ash's. They do explode immediately, like they're on impact instead of like having a diffuse time or whatever, but they don't do the same thing that Ash does against Miras, so I think that's kind of why they're a little bit worse. So I think she's going to go into B tier. Not a bad operator by any means. Going to go probably just above Twitch, just above Forest, but she's fine. Like you can play her, she's a fine flex pick. I think a lot of people who were used to the glory days of Sophia kind of still lean on her, but she's kind of whatever. She's fine. So gonna go into lower B tier. But here's my list of our 6 attackers. Tell me what you think down in the comments. You know, maybe my Osa take is crazy or something like that. Let me know how you'd rank them, and let me know what you think. Who's your main? Do you main anyone? Things like that. So just tell me all about it down in the comments, and please leave a like, and just stay tuned for the next one. Thanks.